Hey, hey, we're live and we're talking with Adrianna Locke from Zocalo Wellness. I made you a banner. Check it.
Ooh, cool.
I know.
You're so
So fancy.
fancy.
I know. I love this tool. If anybody wants to know, we're using StreamYard, which is I love. So I wanted to I'm really enjoying like having people in and just like chatting about business and growing business and service-based stuff. And I love what you're doing because it's kind of different I work with a lot of like web folks, design. Kristen was here the other day. And you're a healer. So just start off and tell us like who you are and what you do.
Yeah. So I'm Adrianna Locke. I run Zocalo Wellness, which is, I'm an acupuncturist. And so I do traditional medicine. I studied East Asian medicine, Chinese medicine. I do acupuncture, moxibustion, etc. I also have been learning Central American traditional medicine because that's where part of my family is from. And basically, I help people decolonize their healthcare is how I think about it. Decolonize is so overused, but I'm like, that is essentially what I'm doing.
It's appropriate.
Yeah. So helping people think about their bodies and their health differently, and kind of reclaiming a nature-based system and an interdependent system, and giving people tools to feel empowered in their ability to care for themselves, and also like moving towards, right, sustainability is a big buzzword. So moving in the direction of like less overhead, less like, what do you do when you can't run a lab? You take someone's pulse. So that's what I do. Yeah.
Cool. And how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this going on 9 years, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So this is cool because you and I have actually known each other for a long time.
I know.
And longer than, I always do this thing where I say, oh, we know each other from this. And then the other person says, no, actually it's this. And it's something that's like 5 years before, 20 years before. So what's your version of how you met?
I think I met you at a Mercy Corps. It wasn't a seminar. You did a talk, and it was like a women and minority like summit of some kind at Mercy Corps.
Okay.
I was like very intrigued, and I think I came up to you and I was like, I just made myself a WordPress site. now that I know you, I'm sure it's sent a shiver down your spine.
No, I love when people take initiative. And so my version of that is that we met at a Janelle Monáe concert that was actually like a protest. And that's the one that like stuck in my head. And then we've met at Janelle Monáe like 3 times since then.
I don't remember that at all. Actually, this is hilarious.
That is hilarious. Like, which is just a good example of brains and how they pay attention to different things.
So funny.
But what I find hilarious is that, so now we see each other like, I don't know, every half a year or so. And every time at the grocery store, whatever, I'd be like, I'm going to talk to you about business. And I'd be like, okay. And we did that for like 3 years, right?
So long. So long. We did that so long.
And I want to point that out because, one, the importance of like follow-up and consistency and just like still being in business, right? Because some people don't make it 5 years. Of like, you talk about, your clients are on a journey, right? Well, they really are. And my coach said this morning, she's like, your clients are on a journey because you're on a journey, right? And the people I served 5 years ago are not the people I serve now. So what was it that finally prompted you to like make the appointment? Because it was a long time coming.
I think it was immediately after a new season's run in. And this is a testament to what you teach. You sent out an email. I was on your listserv. You sent out an email with a story about Jess, your wife, saying like basically, I think she said something like, social media
Internet.
friends aren't real friends.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And you're like, I'm gonna prove you wrong. I don't think this was in the email, but you gave this story about how you were sick and you went on, I don't know if it was Facebook or what, but
Twitter.
Twitter. So you went on
Yeah.
Twitter and told people you were sick, and somebody physically brought you soup. And you're like, look, this is a mode for actually connecting with people. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have Jess in my head. And I think I had like a social media hiatus for like a year or more. And I was like, okay, I need to do something to jumpstart my business because I'm floundering and I'm plateauing and I don't feel the spark anymore. And so that's why, and I think you were running a special too, like a
Right. Yeah.
trial or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I'm going to invest. Let's do this.
Okay. And then what happened once you finally came into my world? Tell me what happened.
I was completely overwhelmed.
Good overwhelmed or bad overwhelmed?
I was good overwhelmed because here's the other kicker about what you do is that, I had been in business for at least 4 years and had done everything myself and had done pretty well, especially compared to other people in my field. People struggle to make money in my field. So I felt pretty good about myself. I was going on vacations, etc. And when I got into your program, I realized how much deferred maintenance I had with my website, with everything. And I had been trying to build a new website for a year. A web developer.
Which
So
you like unwillingly confessed.
Yeah, I was like,
okay, this like
yeah, got this project happening. And yeah, I was just overwhelmed with the reality check of it, and also really grateful because I knew the benefit of it. Like I knew that the reality check was with love, and that if I followed your advice and your teachings, that things would get better, and could see the benefit of what you were telling me and what your content was about, because it was all about building a foundation. And I realized that my foundation was sorely neglected. And I was just kind of like running on my own charm, essentially, in like world.
oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
that I could see a totally different world. And here's what I think is so great about coaching, which I didn't understand before I met you or before I signed on with you, is that I think the main benefit of coaching is that the coach breaks your mind a little bit or a lot. And that's how you get to a different place, right? Because you can't see your own stuff. Like you can't defrag your own mind. You need help, you're not going to do surgery on yourself. That's what the coach is for.
Right. Although you
Yeah,
can give yourself needles, which I'm super jealous
that's true, but
about.
it's not that fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably better if it's you go to someone and you feel that like
Yeah, it's
cared
always
for.
better,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
you can't see your own blind spots, right? That's the point.
Yeah. And I love when you came in because, despite the overwhelm, I feel like you got so excited about like,
Mhm.
okay, yes, my world has been broken open, but look at all these shiny pieces and let's
Yes.
build something new.
Totally.
And that's what I loved about your approach to it all. So we fixed your website.
Mhm. In like a
Um,
day.
it was a little more than a day, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
better.
it's true.
And so what other benefits did you have from coming in? Was the community helpful?
Yeah, the community was great. It was, yeah, that was definitely the other benefit, is seeing other people kind of along the path at different stages, and just to have a space to talk to other people, talk to other people who are ambitious and dedicated to their businesses and trying out these new tools. was super helpful. And I think just the peace of mind with knowing that I was in a community was kind of like, you have my back, you're super supportive. Like when I started to flounder or, that overwhelm would turn into paralysis, then I felt like I could go to that community, go to you, and get a renewed sense of like, yeah, this is totally normal. It's just, it is a lot of work. Like your analogy was like being in the basement, like working on stuff in the basement, which is not fun, right? Like you want to be upstairs, you want to be decorating, you want to be like
Painting the
having an open
trim and
house. Yeah. You don't want to
yeah.
be like, I don't even know how you fix a foundation, but you don't want to be doing that. It's just not sexy, right?
Right.
And
But it's like how
so
you get to all the sexy stuff.
yeah, yeah, you like have a house that won't cave in or sink into the ground, It's
Yes.
necessary, it's just not sexy. So to get the validation that yes, this was the thing that I needed to be doing, it wasn't going to last forever and it was going to pay off in the long run. It was just really valuable.
Cool. You
Yeah.
mentioned ambition, which is something I want to talk to you about because it's ambition and healers don't necessarily go together all the time. Um,
Yeah, it's
and
strongly
you are someone
discouraged.
who you're someone who wants to make a lot of money. Is that fair to
Yeah.
say?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And then how long, like, have you always felt like that, or is it recent, or like, tell me about that.
Well, I like to hang out with activists and socialists and some communists and people who generally believe that money is evil or think that they're sellouts if they make a lot of money. And so I tried that life. I had for a long time the nonprofit world where you don't get paid anything and like, you're 20 something, you're like, I'm all about the cause. And then and then yeah. And then I went to grad school and I still got a job that didn't pay me anything. I kept working for healthcare organizations who didn't provide healthcare. I was like, this is not cool. I need to try something else. And so I decided to open a business. And the take home message in that world was actually that you can't make money helping people. Like that was the dogma. So I just set out with the question, can I make money? It was so basic. I was like, can I make money doing this work? And it turns out you can. And also that making money is awesome because you suddenly have all this resource, not only to take care of yourself, which is the point of the work that I'm doing, but also to take care of other people, like donate to causes, like curate a space that can serve as an event space for people for free or for very low cost, or support organizations and causes. And I just kind of realized that whole dogma about not making money, that money is evil, is just not true. Or I don't think it's true anyway. Not to say that capitalism doesn't have problems or create healthcare issues and inequities, but that's not the same as being like choosing to be a martyr for
Yeah.
just the sake of, I don't even know, like status. I'm not sure what it is. It's like some soapbox that just, I was like, I don't really want to be burnt out all the time. It didn't feel right. I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. For
So
you as a healer to be
yeah.
grinding yourself into dust in the service
And
of healing other people.
exactly. And to have that be the example to my patients too. I'm like, I'm not trying to spread that life,
Right. Right.
So yeah, that's why I started my own business.
Cool. And so one thing I wanted to talk about, because you know about Rachel Rodgers, because I tell everyone about Rachel Rodgers, because
Yes.
Rachel Rodgers is the truth. Rachel Rodgers is now my coach. And she's now your coach. And one of the things, when I found Rachel, one of the things that occurred to me is, okay, well, she's a coach and I'm a coach, and she's Black and I'm Black. Like, what's the right? That's super basic, right? But this is where you're like, I'm trying to mimic the imposter syndrome. Like, I don't really have imposter syndrome, but like, I know this is like a thing that comes up in people's minds because it came up in my mind. So it's like, well, what's the difference, and why would you choose one over the other? Or as you did, like, so we were in a meeting actually about your project, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to hire Rachel tomorrow. And you were like, I hired Rachel. And there was like this little party. So I'm super curious, since you now have the perspective of working with us both, why did you come to that decision, and what is it that you get from each one?
Yeah, it's such a good question. And it really has stumped me because, but I think it's super applicable because because imposter syndrome happens to everybody. I mean, it happens to me. I'm like, why would somebody come to me for acupuncture or for like a healing program, And I really don't believe in competition, actually, because I think people come to us because they like us, because they vibe with us. And I think you and Rachel have really different vibes and also really similar vibes. Like there are places where you overlap for sure. And I like the overlaps, right? Like because you are both Black women, and because you're all about ambition. And like those are actually the things that I like about both of you. But then there are differences, right? Like you're a tech whiz, like, like you just are so good at that. And I'm sure that I don't think she does that, but she knows how to get people to do that. And she knows how to talk about it. I haven't actually gotten to that content in her coursework, but I feel like how do I want to say it? I just like you both so much. And I feel like for me, you both complement my business and like the way I think. Like like I don't want to get too woo-woo about it, but like your energy is just like I don't know, both. This is probably not very helpful.
You can go full woo. This is a woo-friendly channel.
Totally. There's a synergy there. And it'd be interesting to look at your strengths like side by side, but she is kind of like, she's commanding in this way that I want to do more of. So just being coached by her helps me show up bigger. And you are like, you do that, but you also are really good at honing in on the details. And I don't feel like I get a lot of that from her. And I need that too. So like I can go too far in both directions, and to have you both kind of balances me out. And it's a lot of information to take in at once, to be honest. Yeah. But I think what I've been doing is kind of swinging back and forth between, depending on where I'm at with the business. Yeah. And that's been super helpful. So,
and I'll just put out an example is like, so now since we're both clients, we're working on frameworks because that's something that we learn about from Rachel. And so I know because I'm working on my framework, and I know that you and I are going to work on some automation. I'm like, we don't even need to do that until your framework is
exactly
like, you know what I'm doing. So it's like, okay, yeah, that's paused because it's not the time to focus on it because we're doing all this internal work. And then it's cool that we're both doing it because we can do it together and be like, and bounce off each other. So
yeah,
I was so thrilled when you were like, yes, we do.
I know. I feel like I'm getting so much benefit from this whole situation. I'm just like in the sweetest spot.
It's like Coach Polyamory. Totally. It's Coach Poly. That's new hashtag. Coach Poly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, and I have another client.
Unicorn.
Yeah. I have another client actually who follows Rachel and is friends with her enrollment coach. And, and she I don't know if she really aspires to hire Rachel, but maybe she does. And, it came up and I said, listen, I'm so fine with you using me to get to Rachel. Like, our audiences overlap a little bit, I think, but, she's trying to help people make $1 million and not everybody is up for that dream.
Right. Totally. I do think that you have different clientele.
Yeah.
And that's actually, and like you said about community, that's actually a big part of it, is like, I think what's great about both of you is I can see you both learning in real time and that you bring that back to your people in real time. And that I think is the mark of an amazing coach, where you're like obviously so invested in us getting it and like moving forward that you're not like holding back any of the gems. You're just like, I learned this amazing thing. Let me tell you about it. And and that manifests in the community too, right? Like what do I want to say? Like, and I think that's why you need to like your coach. Like you need to vibe it out because like they're gonna attract the people that you want to be in community with, right?
Totally. Yeah.
So it's like I don't feel like I mean, yes, you told me about Rachel, and that's how I learned about Rachel. But I feel like now that I'm working with both of you, I don't feel like you're in competition really at all. And
no, I don't either.
Yeah. So I actually have more, I feel more invested in the coaching I do with you, even though I'm like kind of MIA in the Facebook group. But I can see how what you're talking about is even more valuable than I understood previously. Because I can see how not everybody has that, even at the level of the people in Rachel's program, right? People are still struggling with automation. They're like, we'll see posts on the Facebook. Hey, I'm thinking about implementing automation. I'm like, what? You are making multiple 6 figures and you don't have automation yet. I feel pretty good about myself right now. So yeah, I think like it just made your message so much more, like I could see the value so much more after like hanging out in that group for a while.
Yeah, and I don't think we're in competition. And one of the things that happens, and one of the reasons that I tell everybody, is because Rachel has an amazing podcast, $1 Million Badass podcast. And some people I talk to, it's like they haven't even quite given themselves permission to have the real. And so I will go and I'll like prescribe episodes to them. Like,
yes.
And to help break their mind a little, right? And some of them come back to me and they're like, oh, I could make 100K. Like if people can make 1 million, maybe I can make 100, maybe,
right.
Yeah. And
So
yeah, I think it's awesome. Cool. So the one thing I always like to end on is, somebody's going to be watching this. They're going to be thinking about and wondering, maybe should they book a strategy session? What would you say to those folks?
What do you have to lose? Why wouldn't you book a strategy session? I feel like I got so much out of the strategy session.
Which is free.
Yeah, you blew my mind in the strategy session. I think you literally said, like, you make content out of what you talk about. And I was like, why did I never think of that? It's the simplest thing. Just book it. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't. That's
and scene. Oh, that was awesome. Thank you so much. And please tell everyone about your opening.
Yeah. So I have a new space. It's not the space I'm in. I'm at home, but it's a new space on Division. If you're in Portland, 41st and Division. And it's a big, beautiful space, big enough for events. We're having an open house this Sunday. We're having a free class on flower and gem essences. If you don't know what those are, you should. They're really cool. And then from 3 to 5, we're having an open house, which there'll be lots of amazing people. Karanda will be there. We'll have meet and greets. We'll do a little space blessing. And I'd love to see you there. You can check out more information. Maybe I can post the Facebook.
Yeah, we'll drop a link.
Okay, yeah, we'll drop a link. And yeah, it would be great to have you. And this has been so fun.
All right, yay! I can't wait. All right, I'll see you soon.
Sounds
and I'll
good.
see you all soon. Bye.
Bye.